Hi everyone, welcome to Legal Talks by Desi Qanun. I am Suyash and I am excited to have started this show. On today's show, we will talk about another judicial pronouncement by the Honorable Supreme Court of India, wherein an interesting issue came up relating to the meaning and the nature of family settlement that could be entered into by the parties. The name of the case is Khushi Ram and others versus Nawal Singh and others. Now this case stems out of a civil suit wherein certain compromise and family arrangement was entered into between the parties. In the present show, we shall confine ourselves to the nature and the scope of a family settlement. Now, in order to explain family settlement, the Honorable Court first cited the case of Ramcharan Das versus Girja Nandini Devi. According to the court, every party taking benefit under a family settlement must be related to one another in some way and have a possible claim to the property or a claim or even a semblance of a claim. Further, it was observed that all that is necessary is that the parties must be related to one another in some way and have a possible claim to the property or a claim or even a semblance of a claim on some other ground as, say, affection. So, what is important? It is important that the parties must be related to each other. Thereafter, the court cited another case of Kale versus Deputy Director of Consolidation. Now, this case was cited by the court to understand the meaning of the term family. And while explaining the meaning of the term family, the court also explained the object of a family settlement. In this case, the court stated that the object of the arrangement is to protect the family from long-drawn litigation or perpetual strifes which mar the unity and solidarity of the family and create hatred and bad blood between the various members of the family. A family arrangement by which the property is equitably divided between the various contenders so as to achieve an equal distribution of wealth instead of concentrating the same in the hands of a few is undoubtedly a milestone in the administration of social justice. That is why the term family has to be understood in a wider sense so as to include within its fold not only close relations or legal heirs, but even those persons who may have some sort of antecedent title, a semblance of a claim, or even if they have a spec successionis so that future disputes are sealed forever. And the family, instead of fighting claims inter se and wasting time, money and energy on such fruitless and futile litigations, is able to devote its attention to more constructive work in the larger interest of the country and the society. The court further stated that where the courts find that the family arrangement suffers from a legal lacuna or a formal defect, the rule of estoppel is pressed into service and is applied to shut out plea of the person who, being a party to family arrangement, seeks to unsettle a settled dispute and claims to revoke the family arrangement under which he has himself enjoyed some material benefits. So, this is what the court said in the case of Kale versus Deputy Director of Consolidation. Now, in the present case, the court also gave a word of caution that family settlements are governed by principles that are not applicable to any dealings between the strangers, and while considering a family settlement, the court takes into account the interest of families and examines the arrangements or the conditions that are exclusively conducive for family settlements. So this means that the principles of family settlement are quite unique and they are not related to the dealings between the strangers. In the present case, the court again perused the case of Kale versus Deputy Director of Consolidation and laid down the essentials of a family settlement in the following manner. According to the court, the family settlement must be a bona fide one so as to resolve family disputes and rival claims by a fair and equitable division or allotment of properties between the various members of the family. Secondly, the said settlement must be voluntary and should not be induced by fraud, coercion, or undue influence. Thirdly, the family arrangement may be even oral, in which case no registration is necessary. And fourthly, registration would be necessary only if the terms of the family arrangement or family settlement are reduced into writing. Fifthly, the members who may be parties to the family arrangement must have some antecedent title, claim or interest, or even a possible claim in the property which is acknowledged by the parties to the settlement. And lastly, a bona fide family arrangement which is fair and equitable is final and binding on the parties to the settlement. So, those were the 6 essentials of a family settlement. But the court did not stop here. The court also considered the rights of the legal heirs of a female in a family settlement, and in order to resolve this, the court perused Section 15 of the Hindu Succession Act 1956. Section 15 talks about general rules of succession in the case of female Hindus. In case a female Hindu dies intestate, then her property shall devolve according to the following rules. It will firstly devolve upon the sons and the daughters and the husband. Secondly, it would devolve upon the heirs of the husband. Thirdly, it would devolve upon the mother and the father if the above mentioned legal heirs are not available. Fourthly, it could even devolve upon the heirs of the father. And lastly, upon the heirs of the mother. Thus we see that even the heirs of the father and mother are covered in the list of legal heirs under Section 15 who could succeed the female who has died intestate. According to the court, when the heirs of a father or a mother of a female are included as person who can possibly succeed, it cannot be held that they are strangers and not the members of the family qua the female. As I stated earlier that in the present show, we shall not concentrate upon the facts or the other issues that were raised in this case. And in the next post, we shall talk about the issue of registration of documents. That was also one of the key issues in the present case. So what are my concluding remarks with respect to the issue of family settlement in civil disputes? I feel that civil litigation is a complex field and the litigants as also the advocates sometimes take things for granted while dealing with the civil suits. Family arrangements or settlements are important tools that could help the parties settle their decades-long disputes and bring peace to them. In the present case, the court traced the jurisprudence behind family settlements and used the same to understand whether the parties in the present case are related or not. I find this to be a very welcome methodology. So we shall end here, and in the next post we shall discuss about the remaining aspects of this case. I hope you enjoyed listening to this show. Thank you for listening. See you next time. Till then, stay tuned.